Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is Nico and you're watching Dare to Game. Today we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance and we're walking through Ledechko here and I spotted my old friend the Charlatan. So we're going to be doing a mission here. So let's just, jump right into that.
Well, who have we here?
Ah, the prodigal son returns. I knew you'd come back to me one day.
Let me guess, you saw it in a dream?
I knew you were going to say that.
I had a dream of my own.
You too? So you learned something from me after all?
Yeah, it was just when I was getting pummeled by a mob of very irate villagers.
That unfortunate misunderstanding. What can you do?
Misunderstanding, yeah. I tried to explain that to them, but they were too busy kicking my arse to listen. So what is it you want from me now?
Ah, my dear apprentice, everything's gone to the devil. I'm living from hand to mouth, sleeping on straw, and the local peasants won't buy from me. They say they don't trust me, as if I were some kind of charlatan. Can you believe it? Does this look to you like the face of a swindler? I'm an honest trader in sacred goods, whose only concern is the welfare of troubled souls.
A regular good Samaritan.
And any time now the slanderous gossip will spread here from Sassau. I should leave before things get worse. But I can't go anywhere until I've made a bit of coin. So what's needed is to give the locals a bit of encouragement, to open their hearts and purses.
I'm not going to go around beating people for you.
What do you take me for? I wouldn't hurt a fly. Violence is for the dull-witted. We must gently demonstrate to them the necessity of buying my remedies. For example, to ward off a revenant.
Revenant? What revenant?
The dead return from the grave, a corpse that the soul is unable to depart from, which wanders among the living, filled with rage at its wretched fate.
Yeah, I saw something like that once. But it was just some drunk going home from the tavern after losing all his money at dice.
Don't make light of such things. Now tell me, do you know how to deal with a revenant?
Set fire to it and piss on it?
You're not taking this seriously at all, are you? You are my trained apprentice, but the ignorant villager is entirely at a loss how to deal with such dark forces. It is our sacred duty to prepare them for such threats.
And how do you propose to do that?
Well, they're all doubting Thomases. They need proof. We'll need a grave, an empty grave that we can use. There's one along the way to Sassau, but it's got one minor shortcoming.
What's that?
Well, it's not entirely empty.
Not entirely? What does that mean?
You have to dig it up first.
But that's a sin.
Refusing to help the needy is also a sin. I haven't had a decent meal for 40 days and 40 nights.
My conscience is clear where your stomach is concerned. Disturbing a grave is a grave sin.
The grave is not in hallowed ground, so that's hardly worth one Lord's Prayer in penance. I asked a priest once, just out of curiosity.
Why this particular grave?
The locals don't like to talk about it, so it's surely got some sinister past behind it. And in places like that, revenants sprout up like mushrooms after rain.
Well, if that's how it is, we could open old wounds. That could easily set people against us. Again.
Then it would be best if no one could connect us to it, wouldn't it?
I'll need a spade then.
Yes, dig it up and remove the remains, leaving no trace.
And what am I to do with the remains?
Keep them. Human remains are always handy to have around.
Great. And how do we spread the word of this revenant?
There's a gossip in every village. Here, too, a woman who'll spread news quicker than a dozen messengers on the fastest steeds.
And what am I to tell this gossip?
All you have to do is casually mention the empty grave, and before evening, I'll wager the whole village will know about it.
Where does this woman live?
The last house on the left, on the road to Sassau. She was the first person I met here, and by the time I reached the village green, I already had a mob looking suspiciously at me. The rumor-mongering fishwife.
And that's all?
Not quite. You should ask her who was buried there. So we've got a story to work with.
So, dig up the grave, talk to the gossip.
And the remains. Don't forget to remove them. Otherwise, no one will believe in the Revenant.
So, no rest for the wicked. Well, I guess let's just get to that. I guess I gotta find this grave. We'll pick it up there. Well, I found the grave. Let's look around, make sure nobody's spying on us. Let's dig this sucker up. I always carry a spade on me, so I knew I didn't need to go looking for one. Thorax. Oh, I gotta take them out one at a time. I get it. There's the humerus, the manus, the cranium, the femur. That's funny. Okay. So let's go talk to this gossip. Figure out what we need to figure out and, you know, get her to spread some gossip. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the gossip right here. Thus, you know, the name. Wow, her parents just knew when she was born.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sassau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up, all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven, what in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
Well, no one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Well, I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet, and he wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough they had nothing to eat, and so he took to thieving.
Well, thieving is wrong.
Aye, but when there's a child on the way and your wife hasn't the strength to get out of bed for the hunger, well, you ought to think differently.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops, but then it was anything that wasn't nailed down, and in the end they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Ledetchko.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
God have mercy on their souls.
Amen.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day he parted ways with God forever, and he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself, nor us either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
You showed him. Thank you, that thieving magpie. You can't trust anyone these days. And just so you know, I'm no pinch purse. Here's a small reward.
Thanks.
Well, that rude interruption here by this villager at the end was because I chased down a bandit and stopped him. But yeah, so that was a sad story. Real tearjerker there. But let's get on with it. Let's go talk to the charlatan.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begins the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. Ugh. He was from Ledechko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul, and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant, to vent his rage at God and men, and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
The question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad at the butcher's. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Her conscience was troubled on account of her man, and she couldn't sleep. But I helped her, so she's found some peace.
So, no problem then.
What? I'm supposed to scare the wits out of her and start all over again?
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original, but it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
for what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
Well, what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sassau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help?
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
I think I'd rather bury them.
You could. But what a waste. Imagine the power they could have.
At least the poor wretch will have peace at last.
Maybe. As long as you bury him in hallowed ground. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Like in Rattay, maybe?
Well, that's probably the nearest. That gossip-mongering crone would know.
True, I could ask her.
If you must. But for heaven's sake, don't even hint to her what you're up to. Farewell.
So where to start? I guess for start, we'll run over to Rattay and bury these bones. I feel bad about digging them up, so we'll take care of that first. So we'll pick it up there. We're gonna find out where I can bury this. Oh, that was easy. Alright, nifty. So I guess we'll talk to the gossip. No, we don't want to talk to the gossip. Gossip is bad. So we're gonna head back to Ledechko and, I don't know, start sealing rosaries or something. We'll see what happens. Well, the butcher wasn't making any sense to me, so let's go find out the recipe for that potion. Maybe that'll be easier.
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched. And so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
God be with you.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting from the recipe. I think I get some of it. I need poppies and thistles. But, Well, we're gonna head back to Rate, because I should be able to get that stuff at the shop there in town. So we'll pick it up there. Alright, so we're here, and we're going to... I think I've deciphered it. I'm pretty sure what he meant by the patron saint thing was St. John's wort. Like I said, I think the red is poppy, and then we gotta do the thistle standing for the, prickly dude. And, of course, we gotta combine it with wine. So, where was it? Wine. And the guy, the charlatan said to grind it, so, that was wine I grabbed, right? Wineum, yes. So, inventory. Let's say there's not a recipe, so we'll just have to... So we need... Do I have any St. John's wort? Geez, I hope so. There it is. I'm assuming it's just one, right? That, thistle, and poppy. Confirmed. There we go. So we'll take one thistle. Mortar. Mortar and pestle. This is going to take forever. I hate doing alchemy. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Once you do the potion once, then you can auto-brew it. Hopefully that'll count for this, too, so. So we'll dump that in the dish. Crap, I already forgot which one I did first. Thistle, I assume. So St. John's wort. Can't help but notice I can't see my poppies. Where's my poppies? Guess I'll have to go back into the inventory and grab them. There it is. Huh. Weird. Alright. Grind that sucker up. Do the old mortar and pestle. Dump it into the dish. Take the dish and dump it into the pot. Ooh, red. Very nice. And now we'll run the bellows. Boil it for 1 turn. File. Once the flames stop, it should be done. And look at that, fake blood. So let's just quick auto brew a couple more of those. I'll do that off screen, but we'll pick it up back in Ledechko when we're ready to color the water red. Okay, so it's nighttime. Let's see if we can't sneak in here and do the deed. Hopefully we don't get caught, because that'll ruin the whole plot. Oh crap, I have a whole bunch of fake blood. There we go. I'm gonna do it in each of the baths. Hopefully they'll let me. Ah, they won't let me. Maybe the third one? Nah, I can't do it in here either. Okay, so that does it for that. Let's wait until morning and see, if people, freak out. Alright, so it's morning, so let's go ask the charlatan if anyone has noticed the whole bloody water thing.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
So, how am I doing so far?
Well, someone asked me how to deal with a revenant, but no one is worried enough to part with any coin. The baths are closed. No one will tell you why, but everyone is clearly frightened.
That's still not enough, is it?
There's still a long way to go. Good luck to you.
Alright, well, I'm actually going to end it here because I don't want this video getting too long. So this is part 1. We're gonna do a part 2 next time. So subscribe or just tune in next time. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. If you did, I can assume you liked the content and hopefully you'll subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you haven't already, check out these links I have on the screen to see me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you like my content and would like to support what I do here, there's a link to my Patreon account in the description, and a donation would be much appreciated. In any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day.